What keeps you going? Where do you get your motivation? Whether you just want to be the best you can be or the best there ever was, we're here to keep you inspired. Conversations with today's top fitness influencers, coaches, athletes, and bodybuilding professionals. This is Inspired Fitness. Here's your host, Sean Feuderer.
Welcome back to another episode of the Inspired Fitness Podcast. I'm joined today by my co-host, IFBB Pro, Kimberly Helm, along with our very special guest. He's 29-time Natural Bodybuilding Champion, Michael Wittig.
What's up, y'all?
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you just closed out a year that consisted of 17 all-natural bodybuilding shows, and you're fresh off a show this past weekend, which was the 21st annual Natural Olympia in Vegas. Tell us a little bit about your year and your results.
Man, it's pretty wild. So when I started off the year, I really had no intention of doing that many shows. I had a good friend who actually was my coach this year, Eric Murphy. If you follow natural fitness, you know him. He's one of the leaders and a legend and one of the best posers and a world champion. He and I came up together here in Oklahoma as amateurs. So I've known him for a very long time. He's my coach. Well, last year he did 18 shows and I thought he was out of his mind. I was like, man, you are crazy. What is wrong with you? And somehow early in this year, I would have to say God placed it on my heart kind of as a vision to do that. Not 18 shows when I started off. I had an idea to do a lot of shows, and it turned into 17. More shows got added as the year went on. Now, the difference between Eric and myself is he typically just did one class, men's physique, pro men's physique, whereas me, I had the crazy idea to do 3 to 5 classes per event. Men's physique, I could do open and masters because I'm over 40. I'm 47 years old. But I also this year obtained my pro sports model pro card and a classic physique pro card here later in the year. So I was in a couple shows, I did 4 and 5 classes per event for a total of, I have to still do the math, but I think I ended up doing 45 some classes this year and got 22 first places this year. Is where it ended up.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of competitions. And you mentioned
you've done this for a long time, Kim.
Yeah. So I have about 420,000 questions for Michael.
Bring them on.
I won't bombard you too much with it, but
no, all of them. Come on.
You know what? I would love to hear, because you said that you didn't really start out as a goal to do, 17 or 18 competitions, and it kind of got added to your plate. So can you tell us a little bit more? Because we know that competing is taxing on the body and the mind. And so tell us your motivation behind what pushed you more towards doing that many competitions and why you went after it.
So I will tell you, I'm not superhuman. I'm very tired right now, and my body does hurt pretty deeply. It didn't really feel that way throughout the season, but right now I'm pretty beat up feeling. So I'm not doing much these last couple of days, just resting, some very light cardio because of all the donuts I've been eating. But so I'm going to say just, I am a believer in God. I try to do my best to follow Jesus. Early in the year, I had no intentions. I wanted to compete this year. I normally don't do back-to-back years. I normally take a year off to grow, to rest, and be better. Last year, I competed and I did well. I was happy. I was very happy with the muscularity I brought and that I built in that off season. But I did a lot of acting work last year. I do acting and modeling kind of to help my family. And I did a lot of work last year. Like every week I was on set and busy. And I competed at the same time, happy with how I did. But at the end of the year, I knew I could have brought better conditioning. Just a little bit better. I was off maybe 10%, and I wasn't happy with that as a pro athlete. I knew I could do better. So for the first time, I did back-to-back competing years, knowing I would have no more muscle than I did last year. I was going to bring the same muscularity, but I was happy with that. My goal was just to hold that muscularity and bring in better conditioning. So that was my goal this year, not doing a lot of shows. Then I kind of just got placed it on my heart to do a lot of shows. And I didn't have a number. I was thinking about a 10 or 11, I think, is where I started off that I had mapped out. And the reason for that is I like to talk to people. I think I'm a little charismatic a little bit, and my goal was at these shows to try to make a positive impact on people's lives, not just on stage, but to make friends, meet people backstage, give advice to the amateurs, to the young people, or anybody maybe in need. And that was my goal. As the months progressed, and I was feeling good show after show, my conditioning was getting better somehow. I was still full energy, hitting hard, intense workouts show after show, and more shows got added. So that's the answer to that question. I want you to ask all those questions because I probably have some good answers for them all.
Yeah, I'm just dying to know, like, how do you handle recovery between shows?
So what I've been asked these questions, all these questions I've been asked before, but more on a one-on-one basis. So I'm happy to answer them on a more national platform so more people can hear the answers. Everything starts in your mind. You're an IFBB pro, you know this. It all starts here, and then your mindset will manifest through your body and what you're able to do. So early on, like before this, I've only done 3 shows, maybe 4 in a season, and that wiped me out. 4 shows in a season, I was done, hungry, testosterone was dropped. I felt like trash normally. This year, I went into it knowing that God placed His vision on my heart, and I knew in my mind that I could do it. So my mindset was locked in from day one, and it never wavered. Okay, and then God gave me strength to do it, but this was locked in. That was the number one factor. Now, there's a lot of things that I did physically then throughout the day, especially as the season progressed. And as it got to show 10, show 15, there's more things that I had to do consistently, just like we would train and eat right consistently as pro bodybuilders. I had to include daily naps religiously, especially the last half of the season. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to take a nap today. No, I had to schedule it in just like I would my workout, or I wouldn't make it. I had to schedule in, as time went on, some stretching that I normally just, I know we're supposed to do it. I know who makes time to do it, honestly. We want to work out. We don't want to take away from sets to go stretch. I had to include some stretching to keep my mobility right. I had to, as the season went on, especially the last 2 months, I had to do cryotherapy and red light almost every single day, which I can't afford to do. So I made a deal with the company and did a social media trade out. I'm very good, as we'll talk about. I'm good with marketing. I'm good with sponsorships. I'm good with social media. It's a gift of mine. So I worked deals to save my family money, but where I could get recovery therapy on a daily basis, just as a pro football player would do. My body started to hurt that much that daily red light, daily Epsom salt every other day, baths. I normally don't take baths. Who has the time to sit there for 20 minutes? I have 4 kids, but I had to schedule time and not cut into my family time to do that. I had to work out because I do have a family and they need me, and this was and we could talk about that as another question. Yes, it was very hard on my family and my wife and all that, but I had to fit all this in and not cut into their time more than I already was. So my workouts were at 4 a.m. every day, even into the end, 4 a.m. So I was done and home before they woke up so I could get the kids ready for school. I can't take a 20-minute bath on their time at night when they need the bath. So I was scheduling that during the daytime. So just a lot of effort and a lot of consistency practices to keep my body and my mind in a place where I could not just show up at these shows. That was never my intention. Anybody can pay money and show up at shows. Anybody can do that. My goal was to show up in the best shape I could, improve if I could, and be competitive. If not win, be competitive. And I feel like I did that to the very, very end.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely impressed by the level of discipline that you had to demonstrate to make it through this year. I mean, I can't even begin to fathom the level of dedication and commitment. That's impressive. I mean, Kim, how many people in the pro circuit that you're involved in could possibly do 17 shows in a year?
The federations are different, and the motivations, I think, are different for people to do a lot of competitions. And if you are trying to, or like in the federation that I'm involved in with the IFBB and PC, at the professional level in the IFBB, if the goal is going to the top of the top, which sounds very familiar, like what you would just experience, Michael, like the Olympia level, competition is the world crowning champion, basically, in bodybuilding world. So, you had the All Natural Olympia version this last weekend. The other Olympia IFBB was going on in Florida. It used to be in Vegas also.
Week before, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, the week before. Yes, thank you. it's one of those where if you're earning points at the professional level because you're trying to qualify for something like that, you don't have a choice but to do a lot of competitions to try to get to that level. And the federation, the All Natural Federation that you're in, Michael, tell us a little bit about how that works for you, because as I'm thinking through, I'm listening to you talk about going through all these competitions, and doing 17 competitions is so many. It's a strain on the body, and your supplement use is very limited. And I mean that even over the counter, because there's, at an all natural level, it is very specific as far as what is okay and what is not okay for things you can buy over the counter,
Correct.
the types of foods you eat in different countries even. Tell us a little bit about how you are limited and what other ways you can help supplement your body to get through it, because you can't do what a lot of other people might do or might rely upon to help strengthen their body to go from show to show.
That is a great question. Great question. So first of all, I want to say I'm never one to judge on who competes where or when. I have friends in every federation, IFBB, NPC, the natural federations. It's all personal choice, and it's how people live life, and I respect it. And because everybody is working their butts off regardless. Right. And I know
I'm with you on that. I totally agree with you on that, Michael.
So for the supplement usage, yes, we are very limited. There's a list. Now, the thing with natural bodybuilding is there's too many federations. There's a lot of organizations. It's not like the NPC IFBB where there's just one unified voice and that's what there is. In the most part, I know there's a couple little things sprinkling out there, but not like the IFBB and the NPC. It's huge. The natural bodybuilders, it's going to take them time for those federations to come together. They're starting to cooperate more, and I'm seeing a lot of coming together, but it's going to take more time. So right now there's multiple federations, some that are much bigger than others, and they all have a little bit different list, but it's a big list.
Right.
They do test through WADA and a couple other very respected organizations. But yes, you cannot get over-the-counter diuretics. You get in trouble for that. There's certain stimulants you can't have. Can't do that. Definitely no SARMs, no PEDs, none of the stuff. Most of the organizations that I know, except for a very few, do not allow extra TRT. So I'm 47 years old. There's some 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds that need TRT just to live.
Even through prescribed therapy, correct?
Yeah, yes. Most of that is not allowed too. In very few cases, if it's like you have cancer or some kind of life-threatening disease and you have to have this thing to live, they may allow it on a case-by-case scenario and talking to their doctor, not taking one's word for it. But normal TRT, just because, hey, I want to look better and feel better and get my junk to work. You can't do that.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So we are limited. So for me, and another thing I want to point out, yes, over-the-counter supplement stuff you get at the stores at Walmart, you have to be careful as a natural athlete. Some of that stuff is not clean.
Yeah, it has remnants of it, right?
Has contaminants in it.
Yep.
If not illegal banned substances, sometimes dangerous heavy metals, mercury.
Right.
I have a friend that got mercury poisoning buying a brand that you've all heard of at the health store. So you have to be careful. I have friends that have been banned from natural organizations taking a supplement that they bought at a store they thought was safe. They took it, but it got spiked for several banned substances. So you have to be very careful. I did my research years and years ago. I used to be, before I educated myself, with a very popular brand called Cellucor. I was sponsored by them. Now, I'm not talking bad about them. I didn't test it and find stuff. As I did my research, I was like, maybe this is not the best for me as an individual. Not saying anything bad about their stuff. I didn't have any bad fine substances. I didn't get in trouble for anything. I just decided to make a change. I did my research. I found a company called Caged, originally started by master trainer Chris Gethin and some of the great minds at bodybuilding.com. And I chose that company because of the third-party testing, patented ingredients versus off-brand ingredients to save money. And I've been with them for over 8 years. All their whole line I can take, and I've been tested for the last 8 years multiple times, multiple ways, and I always come in clean. I've never got in trouble. I've never gotten pulled aside using Caged supplements.
Good for you.
So it's been great. Their whey protein, their pre-workouts, they have a natural testosterone support. So it's not like you're taking TRT. It just helps enhance your natural testosterone levels. And that has helped me a lot. It's called Test. And from when I started taking that, I've noticed during deep into prep, I had more energy. I wasn't dragging. My stuff worked fine, which in the past it had not.
Yep.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I felt dead, and when I started taking that, I felt normal. And they have also, omegas and organic. They use toffee bean organic caffeine, so it's stuff that I can take, and it helps. It's helped me. Did supplements change the game? No. You have to work out. You have to eat right. You have to sleep. Supplements might help me 5% at my level, at a pro level, at the level of competition that I have. That 5% could make or break me, and I want that 5%. So my supplement consistency is just as hardcore as my working out, my sleeping, and my nutrition.
I love that. And, it is such a huge misconception. And I say this more for the general public, because I think if you're in the competitive world, you kind of have a better understanding of what's okay and what's not okay, and how popular some of these things are and what the challenges are that come with them. And, to your point, Michael, like I have a very good friend who competes in all natural competitions, and he was on a blood pressure medicine that had a diuretic in it. And he didn't know that it was going to cause a problem, when it came time for testing, and it did. And it caused a huge issue. And he just was kind of blindsided by it. He just didn't realize that it was going to be a problem. So, I know there's a lot of work. There are so many supplements that you can purchase over the counter that could have a smaller portion. It's not considered an illegal because it may have a smaller portion of something in it, or it may have contaminants, to your point, in it as well, that you have to really be careful of. So I really appreciate you kind of highlighting what those challenges are, because the human body is, anytime that you push it, and I know that you felt this, especially when you're competing 17 times, the human body depends on how well you treat it as to how well it's going to work. And if you have good nutrition, if you have good exercise, you have a supplement routine that you can rely on. It sounds like you have a really great vendor, basically, that provide, that you can rely on for strong supplements. I used to be a co-owner of a supplement brand, and we did an all natural supplement, and it was really way more challenging than I thought to test it, to make sure that the place that it was being manufactured in, which was also manufacturing things that weren't all natural, that nothing was getting mixed up in those ingredients, that it was legitimate, that what we were saying was real. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of things that happen accidentally, out there. There's a lot of supplements that don't have the same quality, and they're cheaper because of it.
They'll say their protein count is up here, but some of that protein your body can't even use because it's broken amino acids.
That's right.
The public doesn't know this. As a pro athlete, though, I want to encourage everybody listening to this that it's our responsibility. It's your responsibility to know what you put in your body, because when those tests come back and you get pinged for something, it's like you can't go run a red light and the cop's still going to give you a ticket. It's not your fault if you didn't see the stop sign. It's the same with this. It's your responsibility as a pro athlete, or even an amateur athlete, if you're going to compete, to know what you're taking. So take a minute and research what you're buying at the store and putting in your body. Because if you're doing natural fitness, I'm doing it for health. I like to compete, but I work out and do what I do, first of all, for health, for longevity, because I got 4 kids and I want to be around for them. My parents passed away at a young age. I was in high school when my dad passed away, and it really hit me hard. And I still think about him all the time. And he missed so much of my life, and I want to be here for my kids. That's my number one why of what I do. Then I just compete because it's fun. So it's my responsibility to know what I'm taking, and why I'm taking it is to be healthier, not just to build muscle.
Michael, you made a good point. And it's, if I'm being quite honest, most of the pro athletes that we talk to make the same point, right? That the supplements, are only going to help you that last little 5%, right?
Yep.
Are you doing regular intervals of blood work and, other bodily diagnostics along the way?
I do it a couple times a year. I do it regularly, but not like every month. I have a clinic that I go to and see a physician's assistant who does my blood work, mainly for me to see where my testosterone levels are at, because it's something too I encourage, especially men and women over 35, over 40 for sure, to have that check, so you're not working out and spinning your wheels. Because if your hormone levels are off, you're not going to feel right. You're not going to sleep right. Your energy level is going to be messed up. You're not going to be able to build muscle. You might not be able to lose fat. There's just a lot of factors. And if you don't know, you're kind of just blindly working out. So it's important to get your levels checked. I have a very interesting story. So last season, at the end of my season, when my testosterone levels should have been the lowest ever, I went and get it checked at the end of my season because I wanted to know where it was. And then I'll check it maybe 3 or 4 months after a season, because it normally takes that long for your levels to kind of get regulated and back to a normal range. At the end of my season last year, now at 47, I was 46 then. The average for my age is around in the 500. And there's a little MG/ML, whatever. I don't remember it all, but the medical little designation, but 500s are average for my age. At the end of my season last year, mine was 1,080. And the physician assistant really wasn't surprised, because he's been seeing me for a long time. And he said, it's because of your lifestyle. You're not just prepping for a contest. You're always eating right. You're always working out. You're always doing these practices, competing or non-competing. And my levels are twice what they should be. Now, I just finished my season, so I'll go in here soon in the next couple weekends to get them tested again. And then in about 3 or 4 months to kind of see where they get. Because now I'm going to take off for a couple years and build muscle. I want to make sure they're in the range so I'm not wasting my time.
How long have you been competing, Michael, altogether?
I started at age 39 in 2016. My very first show was here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I live, at an NPC show, because I did not know natural federations existed.
Yep.
I wanted to do it for fun. I felt good about how I looked. It was respectable, but I got my ass kicked. You know, the guys were just huge, especially my age at almost 40. The guy, their masters is 35 up, not 40 up.
Yes.
Those guys were massive, big shoulder caps. They're huge. Found out later, you know, I'm friends with a lot of them, and a lot of them, not all of them, are on TRT and just saying to live, to be healthy. Some of them absolutely needed it. I didn't know going into it, but I still wanted to compete. And then after that, I heard of natural organizations here in Oklahoma, and I went and did one in 2016, had a great time. It was a one-show format, which means I was done by noon eating pizza, which I really enjoyed. I wasn't a fan of the morning and then having to go back at night.
Yeah.
And it was a long day that I was exhausted, tired, and honestly didn't have a lot of fun. Not because of the organization, but because of the long day, and just I was exhausted and was like, this is not cool. Went to the natural thing, was done by noon, loved it, made friends, met Eric Murphy there at my first amateur show. I came in second to him. I came into second to him 2 or 3 times before I finally got my pro card. But I started in 2016 at age 39, got my natural pro card at 40 in 2017.
So as you have gone through this routine over the years, have you seen where you've had to adjust your training, your nutrition, your focus as aging has come into play? I mean, you're still obviously, I mean, honestly, if I saw you on the street, I would have guessed you were way younger. I mean, obviously you're doing something right. You're in great shape. You look great. You look much younger than you are. But as you've been aging, have you felt like you've had to change things environmentally or with age as things progress, or do you felt like it's been a pretty consistent ride so far?
It's been fairly similar, but yes, I've had to change my training quite a bit. As I get older, my body just hurts a little bit more, especially my lower back and sometimes my right knee, and definitely my right shoulder seems to always be tweaked. As the years gone on, I used to always be, and I still am, a fan of volume training. I like to do a lot of volume. I like to be in the gym. I would work out all day long if I could do it. If my body could keep up and I would get paid, I would just work out all day long, take a lunch break, go work out again. So I've always been a fan of volume training. I'm typically in there 90 minutes to 2 hours because I like to. Do I have to? No. I know you can go in and hit it 45 minutes, and it's probably better. I like being in the gym. As I've gotten a little older, I can't do as much volume as I would like to because I get hurt, or it's not beneficial for me. So especially moving forward here in this off season, I'll be doing lower volume workouts a little bit more strategically. I can't lift as heavy as I used to on certain moves like deadlifts and squats because my back will blow. It has, even with perfect form, it doesn't matter. So I have to be strategic on how I lift and what movements I do. Instead of as heavy weight as I used to do, I slow my movements down. So I'm doing slower negatives, slower movements, more control, and a little bit lighter weight. Relatively heavy for me, but not as heavy as I used to be able to go. I have to program a little differently. So I am a master trainer with ISSA. I'm a nutritionist. I just don't train people one-on-one anymore. I don't have time with the other things that I'm involved with. So I do my own programming. I do have a coach. Eric coached me, but not with my workouts. I know how to do all that.
Yeah.
He coached me on macros and making sure that I'm not crashing, basically, that I'm getting enough carbs when I need to. I've always programmed myself. So I have to program strategically. So I may not start a leg workout with heavy squats like I used to. I may do squats at the end when I'm toasted just to burn out my legs and be able to use a lighter weight. But yeah, I have to be careful. I have to use knee wraps. I have to use belts when it gets heavy and things just to keep my body safe.
What you just described in your workout and some of the injuries and the compensations and how you do certain exercises towards the end, especially squats, is exactly the same thing that I do. I feel pretty good about the workout piece of it, but as Kim can attest, where I fall short is on the food side of it. I don't have the discipline that you have in the kitchen, not to the degree that you have. So that's what I find most impressive about this process. People who can apply that mental discipline to the kitchen, right? That's where success is built. That's where muscle is built. Break it down in the gym, build it back in the kitchen. And I wish I could just peel off a piece of that discipline that you've got and apply it to my life.
So I've made it how I eat a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle. And it wasn't always that way, but it's taken years and years to where how I eat in the off season and in contest prep is pretty much the same. There's really not a lot of difference. The only difference is in the competition season, I just have to adjust how much carbs I'm bringing in. Really, as far as what I eat for breakfast, it's the same foods I had this morning that I had last week in peak week, and it will continue the same way. I've always have a really balanced lifestyle when it comes to eating. I would say even in the off season, I eat 90% clean. I'll have 2 cheat meals maybe a week, but if I'm eating 5-6 times a day, which I always do, and I have 2 free meals a week, it's about 95% clean, 93%. I did the math. It's something like that. And that's just kind of year around how I eat. But I eat things I like all the time. You know what I'm saying? I don't like fish. I don't eat fish. I don't like it. I don't like broccoli. I don't eat broccoli. I just don't eat it. I don't care. I'll eat carrots instead. Even on the off season, I eat things I enjoy, and it makes it a lot easier. Now, back in the day, I always had to do my own cooking. So I'd cook my turkey patties and put them in there and grill my chicken breast and make my steaks and all that. The last 2.5, 3 years, a little bit longer, I've been blessed with a meal prep sponsor. So I'm with Nutrition Solutions, nutritionsolutions.com, based out of Florida. They're just for the United States. They ship overnight. But I will tell you that they made this prep easy because the food is so dang good. I mean, it's not just like chicken and rice. It's freaking good stuff. And I'm eating it for the last 2 years for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. People ask me, Mike, do you really eat that food? They don't believe me. I'm going to tell you, I don't have no sponsors. None of my sponsor deals are for money. Yes, I make money, but I don't enter them for money.
Right.
These are things I buy and use myself. And then I like it so much that I seek the sponsorship or I work out a deal with them. And this is stuff that I share with my kids. My cage supplements, my 2 teenage sons take. If I wasn't confident in the quality and the safeness, I would not give it to my sons, and I give it to my sons. This food has been so good and makes my prep so easy because it's so good. I'm not desiring to go to the restaurants or to get this or that because I have it at home. And I don't have to shop. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean up. Put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. I'm eating. It makes it easy. They have made this last prep one of the reasons that I was able to do 17 shows because of the convenience of the food tasting so good, but also the quality. When me and my wife, we're blessed, but we're not rich. We got 4 kids. The economy has kicked our butt. How we used to be able to live and eat last year, 2 years ago, is not the same now. Things cost for twice as much for some reason. The same groceries cost phenomenal amounts more money. Where we used to go out for pizza once a week, can't do that no more. It's like maybe once a month or every 6 weeks now. That's just the way we have to live because the economy. When I go shopping, we're not going to organic places. We can't afford it. My wife goes to Aldi, if you know what that is. It's a discount, and we get the rest of it at Walmart. And she's using coupons. We have to. This meal prep sponsor, Nutrition Solutions, is all organic, all grass-fed, all stuff that I can't afford to buy normally. So the quality of the food has kept my body in a place where I was able to do 17 shows. They were a small factor and a small piece of the puzzle, absolutely.
That makes great sense. And I mean, I think I saw Kim writing down the website as you were talking about it. So I'm certain she's going to check it out.
And it's still discipline though, so
It is.
I'm a believer in a balanced lifestyle. I love pizza, I love donuts, and I love a big hamburger and sweet potato fries dipped in lots of ketchup with sugar in it. And I eat that stuff on the regular. It's just a balance of scales though.
Right.
Okay. I'm not going to have that every single day. I'm mainly going to eat healthy food. And then I'm going to insert my treats and balance the scales. I'm not lifting yesterday or today, but I did some very light cardio because you know what? I'm on some donuts. I'm balanced the scales. And that's how, for me, it makes it a lifestyle and as longevity.
It's probably what separates you from many, right? And especially at the pro level. I think when you take on that lifestyle implementation, that is what takes things to a whole separate level. It's so much harder on the body to yo-yo back and forth, to be on a seesaw where you go extravagant and then you gain a lot of weight. And some people say, and look, I'm a believer that each person's body is different and your mindset is different, right? And I have a friend of mine who's been in bodybuilding for more years than I have, and he believes in his heart that he needs to be 40 pounds overweight in the off season, and that works for him. And he likes to have to work hard to get leaned out. I mean, that's his thing. It works for him. For me, for my body, I think I'm more aligned with your mentality, Michael, where for me, it is a year-round lifestyle. And it's been a few years since I've stepped on stage as a competitor, and I still do that 5 to 6 meals a day. I still follow a meal plan. I still have a coach to be my second pair of eyes, even though I know what I'm doing, just to keep my mind right, and to have somebody else's opinion on it. So I love that you have this positive mentality about how you go about attacking it, and that you have a family and you have kids who are seeing that you're putting your health first, even though you're a competitor and you have a lot of goals, that you put your health first, and it's having good nutrition is a main core and foundation of it.
And it's awesome seeing my teenage boys. They're 19 and 17, and they've seen me work out most of their life. And they started lifting seriously about 8 months ago. Their dad, we want to work out. Can you write a program for us? Yes, I can.
How cool is that?
Never have to tell them to go work out.
Yeah.
They go on their own. I have seen them, hey, my friends want to hang out, but I told them I can't because I have to go work out. I've seen my oldest son say I have to get up early because I have to work this afternoon. I'm going to go work out. So they are drinking water. They're eating some of my meals. Their dad, I'm going to have the cereal. Can you make me a protein shake to balance the cereal for breakfast out? Because there's nothing wrong with cereal every now and then. You get some protein. But seeing them do it on their own because maybe they saw it from me, that's a big win as a dad. I love it.
John does this with his kids too.
Yeah. Well, 5 kids. We're a blended family.
Oh, wow.
My wife's oldest, he's 20. He's living the lifestyle right now. He's meal prepping, doing his own cooking, prepping his own meals. Granted, Kim coached him for about a year and a half, 2 years,
couple years
for a while. So he knows what to do based on what she's helped him to understand. But, he's the same way. He's taking care of himself in the kitchen, eating right, goes to the gym 5 days out of the week.
That's awesome.
I'm not quite sure if he's going to try to do natural or if he's going to go more the NPC route, but we'll see where he ends up.
My boys are getting big. My 19-year-old, he's like 6'3", and he weighs definitely more than I do right now.
Wow.
Here and just getting off stage. But my youngest, 17, he's getting really big. That boy in 8 months has probably put on 30 pounds. His body fat's gone up a little bit, but most of it's muscle. That's about how I was when I was his age. I could put on a ½ inch on my arms every single month for a long time. He's getting huge, and he does want to compete. He came to me. So his name's Kyler. He's 17. He came to me on 2 shows this last year, one to Chicago, PNBA show in Chicago, and he just loved it. He loved everything he saw and said, Dad, I want to compete next year. So we're looking at summertime next year for his first competition, and he's going to keep building muscle till about February, March, and then I'll cut him down and be his coach next year. I'm excited.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, that's certainly one way to keep it going in the family.
Yeah.
So I am curious, or at least I'd like to get your input, Michael, and see what you have to say about this. So we talk about the different federations that are out there, and there are a lot of natural federations. I do posing coaching, and I do posing coaching for different federations, and I'm always having to try to readjust for what the rules are in each federation and what the stage presence requirements are and so on. And it's fun to me. I have a good time with it. It's a lot of fun, but it's opened my eyes to how many federations there are that are out there.
Too many.
There are quite a bit. And I think the majority of people that I work with and the people that I see at the gym are involved in the NPC IFBB Federation. And there are still a lot of people who are attracted to that federation because it's so large and there is such a high volume of strong competitors that show up at those competitions. And it's enticing to people. They're shooting for a goal. They want to walk on stage with other people who are taking it very seriously as well. But there are also plenty of people out there who want to be all natural, and they're trying to figure out what makes the most sense. Does it make sense to stay in a federation where, there's no testing? Because even if there are actually more efforts being made right now by the NPC where they're trying to involve more all natural shows. I think they just released a whole new program to focus on bringing in more all natural shows. But right now, as it stands, even if you go into an all natural NPC show and win, you're still going towards an Olympia level where there's no testing. So there's a conundrum there that hasn't been figured out quite yet. So from your perspective and what your experience has been competing in an all natural federation, what would you say for somebody who's looking at starting competing and they're trying to figure out which direction they should go with all the different federations that are out there? What are your tips on how to figure out where they fit in and what aligns with what their goals are?
So I will say this last year, I've competed in 5 of the natural organizations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I have been around. I wanted to experience other organizations.
Yep.
I wanted to make new friends. I have friends in every organization, and I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to share the stage with them. I just wanted to see things that I haven't seen before and experience those things because I hear good things about all of them, from different friends. So I did branch out a lot. Now, even before this year, I've competed in several organizations, but this year I wanted to expand my experience. And so I've been a part of 5. I would say as a new competitor, if you want to get involved, first of all, a lot of competitors don't know natural competitions exist. I want them to know that they are out there and there's great competition and you can be very successful. You could take your physique very, very far. I was just at the Natural Olympia, the biggest natural world championship that I've ever seen. Okay. There's 500 competitors from 70 countries there. I was hanging out with guys from teams, not guys, whole teams from Italy, Romania, Mexico, Uruguay, which I don't even know where that's at, the Balkans. I'm talking 70 some countries were there, from Korea, I couldn't even talk to them because they didn't speak English, some of them. It was amazing. And the champions there, some of their physiques you would not believe. Some of them are IFBB pros as well and tested natural athletes. Some of them could step on that stage if they wanted to and probably do really well. So you can take it far. And I don't think a lot of younger individuals know how far you can take it naturally. I'm not saying you have to go that route. I just want more people to be aware of there is that route and how far it can be taken. So your number one choice is just what personally do you want to do? Is it about maximum muscle and competing at the Mr. Olympia someday? Because there's a path for that and it has to be that path. Or do you want to see how far you can take it and 100% keep your health in line? I'm not saying you can go the other route. You can go the other route and still live, but if you don't do it right, though.
But there's still a risk involved.
There's a risk. There's a risk involved, and a high risk if you're not getting guided properly.
Right.
So if you don't care about that, that's one path. If you want to be healthy and have no risk and actually improve your quality, there's a reason I look young, guys. I'm 47 years old. I do acting, professional acting. I cannot audition for roles for a 45-year-old guy or a 47-year-old guy. Those casting directors will laugh at me and say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I have to audition for 30-year-old roles. Some of it's genetic, but a lot of it is how I live.
Sure.
That I'm taking care of my skin, I'm sleeping, I'm eating right, I'm working out. So if you want to be healthy and live, that's the choice you decide. Hey, maybe the natural route is better for me. Now, how do you decide what organization is best for you? I have my preferences on which organizations I like better, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings right now on this thing. But I would say what makes most sense is what is close to you. What's regional? If you're an amateur, you're not going to want to fly to multi-states and spend
Right.
$1,000 to compete as an amateur, you're going to want to drive a couple hours from your house to make it convenient, to reduce stress and to save money. So for me here in Oklahoma, there was an organization that's right here. Okay, that was easy. And that's where I started because I knew about it. I didn't even know about the other organizations at the time. So research what's in your area and start there. There may be multiple organizations. And at that point, ask your friends which one they recommend. Ask your coach. You have to have a coach.
Yep.
I'm a master trainer. I'm a nutritionist. I've been doing this a long time. People, Michael, why do you need a coach? Michael Jordan had a coach.
Absolutely.
I'm not Michael Jordan in natural fitness. I'm not even close to the Michael Jordan in natural fitness. Michael Jordan natural fitness is up here. I'm like down here. I need a coach. You need a coach.
Yep.
Now, how do you decide what coach? You ask around. You ask for their reputation. You look at their achievements. But you find a coach that you fit with and you listen to them and you get their advice on which natural organization you need to be doing. Something close, something that has friends. For me, what I like about the organizations that I compete in, it's like family. At the Natural Olympia that I was just at, put on by the INBA, PNBA, it was like a family get-together. I was hanging out with friends that I shared the stage with, friends of all ages, all genders, all nationalities. And I have a great time at these events because it's like a family get-together every time I go.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep coming back.
Sean and I have talked about this when we've talked to other competitors too. It's really, it makes the experience when you're going after it, when you're not going after it just for the win, right? When you're going after it for the experience, for the journey, for the relationships, the influence you have on other people. I think that's one of the things that's so appealing about your trajectory, Michael, how you're going about it, and you're in it for a bigger cause. And I think that's what makes you so successful at it. And I love hearing you talk about it. The NPC and IFBB, because that's where the only place that I've competed in. And I've been doing it for so many years. It's amazing for such a huge federation. These worlds are really very small. You can go to these, you can see the same people in a completely different country, and it's people that you know. And it's amazing to share the experience with other people who have a like mindset and who are sharing the same type of journey that you are. It's what makes it so spectacular, I think.
Absolutely. I don't know if I would do it, especially what I just did, but just compete if it wasn't for the people. Yeah, going and challenging yourself and winning, that's cool. But what has kept me coming back is just I know I'm going to have such a great time. I know I'm going to see my friends, or I know I'm going to somehow make a positive influence and impact on someone else. I've met so many cool people this last year. I mean, it's like, I'm going to be posting about this year for a long, long time. People are going to get sick of my posts about the memories and the people I've met and the accomplishments and the things that happened this last year, because there's so many people that had an impact on me that helped me just change maybe my perspective on life, that helped me motivate to keep doing this. And if you follow me on social media, it's Wittig Works, by the way, on every platform. Especially today, you're going to see it's not me just holding up trophies. It's going to be me with this person and this person and this person. And I'm posting these people because they had an impact on me, and they will for my life. These are friends now for life, and they're going to have an impact on my life moving forward. So that's one of the reasons I keep coming back.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I enjoy doing the coaching now. I used to do the prep coaching and I had backed away from that. And now I focus on the posing coaching, and I think I get more excited and nervous for the athletes than they do when they're competing, especially the ones who are just getting their feet wet, the ones who are brand new to competing, because I mean, it's so rewarding on so many levels. If you have your mind right about it, if you're doing it in a healthy way, and to your point, you have to find a good variety of people around you to support you and push you in the right way. This is all in any sport, obviously. Coaching and finding a healthy coach is premier. It's very, very, it's paramount. It's so important. So being able to have somebody who knows how to eat properly, who isn't going to try to bring a man or a woman down to 700 calories in a day because you're trying to do some massive weight loss. None of that is sustainable. None of that is healthy. It's going to crash your metabolism. It doesn't matter how strong you are. So there is something to spending time on getting your setup right. It sounds like you have a lot of people around you and you've been doing it for long enough now, Michael, that and Sean listens to us talk about it, a lot, and he's experienced, because he's a gymaholic as well. He loves going and training, even though he doesn't compete. So
let's see that bicep, Sean. Come on, dude.
Yeah,
There he goes.
he's got it.
I could not have done what I've done without my team of people.
That's it.
And I would say because my intentions and my feet was bigger this year, my team is even bigger. You never know everything. And if you really want to succeed in life, seek the advice of people that know more than you. That's always been something I've done music, acting, modeling, writing for magazines. There's a lot of things I do for work and for fun. And I've been pretty successful at all of them, but it's only because I seek guidance from people that know more than me. I surround myself with experts and good people that I can learn from. So go out and seek advice. It's going to be really hard to get to the next level. My team was huge this year. I had Eric Murphy as far as my macro coach, cardio, and just all things contest. Workouts I do myself, but I had a handful of posing coaches for men's physique, for sports model. I got my classic pro card this year in October as well. I sought out the best natural classic poser that I could find. My team was huge. And then sponsor-wise, doing 17 shows, I flew to all of them but one. And my brother drove me 6 hours to that one, to the 16th show. But 17 of them I flew to. There's tanning, there's hotels, there's registration, there's countless things. And it cost an enormous amount of money. I'm not rich. When I wasn't competing, I was reaching out, working to get sponsorships to pull this year off. The team of that made this happen as well. So I haven't made a list of how many people were a part of my team this year, but it's a long list. And without them, this would not have happened. I could not have done this myself.
You made some really good points, though, that this is a relationship-based industry, right? And if you're not building those relationships, you're not here for the long run. That's good advice to pass along to future competitors.
For me, people in different interviews have asked me, what advice can you give to people? What are some of your principles? And I have core principles that don't apply just to bodybuilding, but to the acting, to the music, to everything that I've done. And one of those principles is to help others win. Is when you help other people win, that comes back around. It's better for me to get somewhere with a bunch of good people than push and shove and try to get there myself. Those careers don't last long, I don't think. It always comes back around, and that principle is just as high as always giving people your best. Do your best. Do more than is asked of you. When people ask you to do this, I try to give them double. Be the easiest person to work with. I find for the most part, if you do those things, you don't have to be the most skilled in life. I'm not the best. I don't have the best physique. I'm not genetically the best, but I just follow some core principles in everything I do. And for the most part, it seems like I can take things pretty far. It's been a blessing. And so if I pass on anything, it's trying to pass on some of those principles to other people so I can see them succeed.
Is there anything in the bodybuilding world that you are shooting for that you haven't accomplished yet?
Yeah. So there's a couple things there. One thing I want to go back to before I answer that, because that's a great question that I'm excited to answer, is I also choose to do natural bodybuilding, first of all, because now career-wise and business-wise, it's a level playing field for the most part. Yes, people can cheat. Let's just put it out there. Yes,
Sure.
they can.
Absolutely.
To me, that's stupid, though. Why would you do that? But they're still out there. As a natural pro, I know that, though, and I accept that and still compete. But as a professional, I can be more successful at a level playing field. I can go compete as a pro, win, and bring home my family some money. Now, there are natural competitors that have become IFBB pros. I'm friends with a few of them. There's not a lot. There's a few of them, though, that have just such an amazing physique that they can go and win an NPC show, go to nationals and win and get their pro card. I'm friends with some of them. The guy that won Mr. America this year, the Open, his name is Phil Thomas. He is also an IFBB pro. He is amazing. He got third in the Open at the Natural Olympia the other day. And there's other people that I think that will get their pro card soon in IFBB that are natural competitors. But I know that once they get that pro card, the chances of them winning the natural or the Mr. Olympia or any IFBB pro show and winning money as a natural is probably not going to happen. It's just the truth. Can it happen? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think so unless they do other things. Now, as a natural pro, Phil, myself, and other guys that are gifted and work hard, we can go out and win show after show and bring home finances for our family. We can get sponsorships that pay our bills, just like a IFBB top pro. I've worked with, on the sponsorship side of things, I've worked with some of the top level IFBB pros out there. That's something I've done too, because I have a business sense, and I've done well with sponsorships. I've also worked on the other side of sponsorships, where I was the one signing people. I don't really talk about that too much, but it's something I kind of do on the side. So I've worked with Rolly Winkler and Flex Wheeler and some of the top guys in the past, Ryan Terry, some of the best. I've been able to work on the other side and sign them to deals. And there's a lot of IFBB pros out there that I don't think take advantage of the opportunity they're in. They could be off a lot better financially working sponsorships if they knew how.
Yeah.
I know how and have done it as a natural competitor. And I know that these top natural competitors, if they knew how, they could make a living doing natural bodybuilding outside of training clients online or in the gym. I do that. I know only a very few people that can, very few, but there, you can be a natural bodybuilder and support your fam. I'm not rich. My wife works. She's a nurse, but my part of the bills, I contribute being a natural bodybuilder outside of training clients. Repeat that last question, because I remember it, but I also want to say my answer correctly, if you remember what you asked before I went into that tangent.
No, it was a good tangent. And I totally agree with your tangent. I really, really do. Because, now I'll just add on to your tangent for a quick second, because it is something that we have talked about with multiple athletes as well, to where you have to do what's right for you. Each person has to go after what is right and what they are okay with. And, at some point, the bar in every single sport out there is getting higher and higher. The technology is becoming more advanced. Supplements become more advanced. The athletes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and even as a figure competitor, I love in the IFBB, I love the IFBB Federation. I love figure. I think it's a beautiful combination of femininity and muscle symmetry. I see geometry and lines when I look at a physique. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's not a sexual thing to me. It's just beautiful. But I also am well aware, to your point, as a pro level athlete, I have had to reassess what I'm okay with. I used to always go after number one, and I obviously as a competitor, you want to do well. And back in the Nicole Wilkins era, 10, 15 years ago, when that look, I could have accomplished that look at Olympia. I believe I could have done well or gotten close to it. Now the look is very, very different. It's much, much bigger. Yeah. It's a different look. And it's a look it's not easily achieved unless you have really, really good special genetics that are like less than 2% of the population. It's not something that you'll get without having some kind of help along the way, without having some kind of supplementation in most cases. I'm not saying across the board, but that is true. So I have to look at those competitors and go, okay, if I step on stage in 2024, I'm at the point now where I want the look that I want for my body, and I want to love who I look like. And I'm not going to sacrifice that just to get a win. So I might go to a competition and go, if I get a top 10 here among pro athletes, I'm okay with that, as long as I'm still living within my values and my boundaries.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's great to hear that perspective from you as well. What we were talking about before that was really, what are your goals as far as keeping you pushing and moving forward? I've
had these goals set up for this point many months ago of what's next. So when it comes to the natural bodybuilding, I am going to take several years off to build. I got my pro classic card in October, and it was a last minute decision. I didn't start the year, I'm going to be a classic pro. I just really had the idea about a month before October. So maybe late August, I was like, you know what? I always talk about challenging yourself and doing uncomfortable things. I'm going to try to get my classic card. So I just started. I've always kind of known the poses, who
Sure.
doesn't mess with the poses, but I got a posing coach that jumped into it, did a show in Arizona in October, did the open class, not the master class that I could have done. I did open, and there was probably 8 20-year-old competitors. They're all in their 20s. Maybe the oldest was 30, low 30s. And I happened to win that day. I won the open and got my classic pro card. And the judges' feedback and competitors was really, really good about my legs. I always thought, they're not big, but I've been working on them for years because I'm a tall, skinny guy, and I've worked really hard on them. and they can get really, really feathered. And the judges were like, man, we had no idea, because I was always men's physique. They're always covered. And the judges were like, we had no idea.
They were hidden.
Yeah, they were hidden. So my goal now is to build muscle so I can do pro, masters, classic physique moving forward.
I see.
I don't think I'm going to put shorts on anymore.
Okay.
I think I'm done with that. I think I want to build muscle. In 3 years, I'm going to be 50. The PNBA has a Grand Masters 50 plus class for most major classes. Their Grand Masters class is one of the biggest classes they have. It's huge. There's a lot of male 50-year-olds that look amazing that I cannot compete with right now. These 50-year-old guys would kick my butt. There's a couple 60-year-olds that compete down in the 40 plus and 50 plus that would kick my butt right now. 60-year-old men would wipe me off the stage. So in the next 3 years, I want to try to put on 8 to 10 pounds of muscle naturally at 47. So at 50, I can compete with these Grand Masters. That's my goal. They have a sports model class that shows all legs that I will probably still compete in because it's fun. It's more classic posing. It's not quarter.
I like the classic posing.
I can be creative. So I'm probably going to do that, not men's physique. Now, professionally, what I'm doing right now, though, I brushed on, is I have a gift for marketing and sponsorships and building brands and businesses. It's just something I learned doing music as a professional musician earlier in life. So I am building a master class right now. I had the idea, came to me just a couple months ago. It's my $1 million idea. And it's my one in a lifetime idea came to me of building this master class to teach natural competitors, really any competitor, any bodybuilder, really, not just natural, but I'm a natural competitor. So I'm going to say that on how to not build muscle. You all know how to do that, but on how to build a brand, how to make a living being a bodybuilder outside of training, because I've accomplished that. And it's taken a lifetime of knowledge for me to be able to do that. This year was extremely expensive. I didn't spend $1 of my own money to do it. My wife wouldn't allow me to do that. I've been living off sponsorship money year round for a long time now. Sponsors don't care if you compete. They don't care if you win. They kind of care how many followers you have, but it's not about that. It's about, do you connect with people? That's where it matters. And there's a lot more to it than just that as well. So my sponsorship money has paid my bills for a long time, my part of the bills, where I can do what I love with natural bodybuilding. My wife doesn't let me use that money to compete, though. That money is for my family to pay our bills. We need it. So in addition to that, I had to raise about $25,000 to $30,000 this year to compete at 17 shows.
Yeah. And
I did that. I accomplished that goal. And pulling that off, now that was not my intentions when I started the year. None of this was. Of doing that many shows, of having to raise that much money, of launching this masterclass. I just had the idea for this about a month ago. It came to me, all this rolled into one idea. So I am building naturalbodybuildinguniversity.com right now. The splash page is live. It went to live the day before the Natural Olympia, just this last Wednesday. Naturalbodybuildinguniversity.com. And it will help, though, any bodybuilder, really.
I love this idea, and let us know when everything is full on, because there's a lot of listeners that we have in our audience who find the bodybuilding community very interesting, and they a lot of competitors who are in it, a lot of people who just like to understand how to be healthy and eat and train. But there are so many competitors out there that I personally experienced as well, where they don't want to use a sponsor because they believe there's so many limitations that are put upon them if they use sponsors. They don't want to feel like they can't be themselves, and they don't want to have to do X number of posts per day, and then they can only do this and only have this. So I think having somebody who has your level of experience and integrity to be able to talk people through what to look for, what compromises you have to make and what compromises you don't have to make, I think that's a phenomenal idea. I wish you the best with that. I think that's a great plan.
I've been sponsored with my core sponsors for over 8 years. Caged, it was Caged Muscle. Now that's just Caged. I've been with them for over 8 years. Riderwear, over 8 years. I will tell you, the right sponsorship situation can change your life.
Yeah.
Okay, not only do I make salary, monthly set salary by a lot of these Manscaped, the shaver that you can buy at Walmart on TV. That's one of my biggest sponsors. Not only am I paying my bills, I don't have to buy food for myself, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. All paid for. Imagine how much money that would save you. Plus, I get paid. I haven't bought a supplement. I could have whatever supplement as much as I want every month, and I do, and I share it with my sons now. Plus, I get paid salary and commission. I haven't bought shoes and clothing for 8 years. I had so many shoes that I have to give them away to my friends. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it changed my family's life. It helps my family. But what it does, it gives me the flexibility to do what I want to do,
Sure.
which is be a natural bodybuilder. There was a reason I could take naps and do red light and look the way I looked for 17 shows is because I had the flexibility and schedule because of the work I put into sponsorships. So this naturalbodybuildinguniversity.com, the splash page is live. It tells you what it is, and you can sign up for free so I can give you information as it unfolds. So check it out. And it's not just sponsorships. It's building your brand, your career in your own way. Not copying what I do. I'm going to teach people what I've done and how to apply it to their own unique personality and situation. My goal is to help the natural bodybuilder or any bodybuilder. It's going to help anybody, NPC as well, to do what they love outside of training so they can do it better and invest more time into it. It's going to be a video masterclass. I'm writing it now, and then I'll record the videos, and I want to launch it in January, February, the first quarter of this year. And it's what the next chapter of my life is going to be. And it will follow with live seminars and one-on-one consultations and all this other ways that I can help people be successful. And these classes then can filter over to MMA fighters, to dancers, to professional sports of any type, to musicians, maybe even anybody that's doing something creative.
Michael, Sean makes fun of me all the time because I don't do marketing.
Yep. This is not Kim's strong suit.
I've never spent time on, truthfully, I've never spent time on it. I just haven't. But I may have to take one of your master classes, Michael. That may have to be what has to happen. We'll see.
That's what's next for me. As far as writing, I've been writing for fitness magazines, multiple international magazines for years. I have a bunch of articles that I'm commissioned to do on my books right now. I got to write. I'm going to be promoting my very first bodybuilding show next year.
Good for you. It's a lot of work. That's awesome.
It is, but I'm excited. So It will be an INBA, PNBA show. Good. I've decided to go that route because what I like about that organization is they have 50 plus, 60 plus classes. I'm going to be 50. I'm going to be the young guy in 50 classes in 3 years. And that excites me. The other reason is they have international shows every year in Romania, Australia, Greece, New Zealand, Italy, the UK. In the future, I'm never going to do 17 shows in a season again. I'm not going to do that. That's not my standard moving forward. Sure. I did it this year. I'll probably have normal seasons moving forward, 3 or 4 shows maybe. My family can't handle what I just did. But I would love in the future to go do a show in Australia and bring my wife and stay for a week.
Sure.
And then compete at 40 plus and 50 plus classes and have fun. That's where I see my future moving forward. So I'm going to promote an INBA, PNBA Pro-Am in August of next year here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called the Tournament of Titans. Haven't announced all this. Is really the first formal announcement. But as I get solidified details, I'll announce that here very soon and be personally inviting many of my friends out for it. And we're going to do it big.
That's so funny. I was actually in Tulsa, not in Tulsa, but I was in Tennessee, actually working with a partner on a bodybuilding show there a couple of years ago in Tennessee. So that's hilarious. I think that's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and let us know how we can help put the word out there for you as you're going down your journey. It sounds like you have a lot of people behind you on it. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, we'll have another chat about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is Mike. What an inspiring story, right? I mean, to do what you're doing at the level that you're doing it at for so long, starting at I'll call it an advanced age at 39.
39. I was old man. Come on.
Right?
I nicknamed myself lately, last year especially. This year, one of my taglines is the old man's coming. Because I still compete in open classes. I mean, I won a couple Men's Physique Pro open classes this last year. I got my butt kicked in a few, but I always in open classes as well.
You're holding your it. You're holding your own.
Just to see how I do. I won a few, and I've got top 3 in a few, and I tell the young guys the old man's coming.
That's awesome. It gives me inspiration. I just turned 49, so I'm approaching that age, and who knows? I mean, Kim's been on me to set a date and do a competition. That's never been my thing, and I don't know if I really have any desire to do it. But to hear your story kind of moves me a little bit that it can be done, right? I take inspiration from that.
Can be done. You can be your best at any age.
right.
Absolutely. I know this.
Love that. Well, listen, thank you very much. What a great conversation today. Kim is usually not quite so enthusiastic. This was, to hear her get fired up, that was something special for me. So thank you for that.
I dig it. You're welcome. Be sure to let me know when this goes live, because we did talk about some awesome things today. I really enjoyed this talk, and I want to make sure to share it and get as many people to listen to it as possible.
Well, thank you all, and join us again next time for the Inspired Fitness Podcast. Until then, we wish you a healthy mind, a healthy body, and healthy habits. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Inspired Fitness, leading you to a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy habits. To stay inspired, visit us at inspiredfitness.net. That's INSPIRD.net. Until next time, stay inspired.